Finally, Spider-Boy gets to tell us his story, but will it be enough to convince Spider-Man of their forgotten partnership? Spider-Boy also revealed who actually trained him, and it is not Spider-Man. High up in the sky above Midtown Manhattan, on a rooftop hidden by the city's tall buildings, Spider-Man meets Spider-Boy face to face. Peter says firmly that no matter where they are, he is still sure he does not want a sidekick. Bailey tries to share his thoughts, but Peter won't change his mind about not letting the young web-slinger be his partner in fighting crime. Spider-Boy gets annoyed by what Peter said. He leaps gracefully over Spider-Man and starts talking passionately about the words Peter used, comparing them to how Thor talks. In his excitement, he tries to run away quickly, but Peter's fast reflexes stopped him. Peter uses his web shooters to trap Spider-Boy against a nearby wall, stopping him from getting away. Getting closer to Spider-Boy, Spider-Man focuses on the boy who is stuck and asks him to think about not being a hero. The young hero replies that he can't do that because he got spider stuff in his genes. Peter remembers when Spider-Boy paralyzed Electro by biting him with his fangs. Interested in what else Bailey can do, Peter asks about his abilities. Bailey then proceeds to explain what he can do. He is super strong like a spider, he can jump really far, and he is good at climbing up walls. He is different from Peter because he has a different spider sense. Instead of sensing danger like Peter does, Bailey can feel when people are in trouble by touching things. Ending his list of abilities, Bailey talks about something interesting. He can turn into kind of a monster with extra eyes and fangs on his head, but he does not like doing that. He shows these features a bit, even though he's not too sure about it. Spider-Man is surprised all over again when he sees Spider-Boy's extra eyes and long fangs spot out quickly. He asks about how these new things are used. Spider-Boy explained that he practiced a lot to learn this, with help from training sessions guided by Spider-Man himself under the teaching of a certain person. Bailey starts to tell a story about how he came to be. He talks about a big moment when Peter rescued him from a bad laboratory run by Madame Monstrosity. After he was saved, Peter took him to Fogwall's gym, where they met someone who knew a lot about superpowers. That person was Daredevil, who was standing calmly on the ropes around the boxing ring in the gym, almost like he knew they were coming. Daredevil jumps gracefully out of the boxing ring, showing off his agility that's way beyond normal. He leaps over Spider-Man and Bailey, surprising Bailey for a moment. Bailey thinks he is seeing 6 Daredevils because of how fast he moved. Spider-Man confirms Daredevil's identity, saying Bailey's name and joking about how his 8 eyes are overwhelmed by so much stuff to sense. Daredevil understands that Bailey's senses are going crazy and offers to train him. During the training, Bailey realizes that Daredevil is the famous man without fear, but Daredevil goes by a new name for that night, which is Club. Bailey is about to say something about this name, but Daredevil taps him gently on the head with his club, getting Bailey to use his eyes better. Feeling both worried and amazed, Bailey talks about Daredevil seems to be everywhere. Daredevil is not bothered and teaches Bailey about seeing things clearly. He tells Bailey not to just try to see him, but to really see him. Daredevil playfully taps Bailey's head again, and Spider-Man jokes that they might need a lawyer or help from social service because of it. Daredevil replies cleverly to Spider-Man's joke, saying he could help find a lawyer if they needed one. Then he turns his attention back to Bailey and changes the training. He covers Bailey's eyes with a tight blindfold, pretending that Bailey now has 10 eyes. With the blindfold on, Daredevil starts again. He talks to Spider-Man, making light of the new situation, and asks Bailey to trust the new senses he's been developing. He throws his weapon in an unexpected way, making it bounce around in the small space, but Bailey's focus is clear. He quickly catches the club's path before it slips away, using his improved senses. Spider-Man cheers for Bailey's amazing success in catching Daredevil's club on his first try. It shows how quickly Bailey adapted after concentrating on his improved senses. For several weeks, Daredevil keeps guiding Bailey. Spider-Man watches closely as Bailey gets better during the training. In a calm moment, Daredevil and Bailey meditated in the boxing ring together, showing how they are working together. Spider-Man relaxes nearby in a hammock made from his web, making a quiet snoring sound in the background. In this peaceful scene, Daredevil tells Bailey to find inner peace, to look inside himself and connect with his spider side. Daredevil says Bailey has the choice to make. With Daredevil's help, Bailey gets really good at controlling his special powers. He learns to change his appearance, hiding his extra spider eyes and pulling back his fangs. This change doesn't make him look different from before. Bailey's finely tuned senses and controlled special powers make him seamlessly join New York's team of street-level superheroes. They work together to take on smaller bad guys like ninja enforcers from the Fist and regular thugs. One busy evening, they defeat a bunch of wrongdoers, showing that Bailey's training has paid off. Daredevil, acting as Bailey's teacher and guide, sees that Bailey's training is working well in real fights. After their success, Bailey asks if he is ready to be a full superhero. Spider-Man answers with a joke saying it is possible but only with proper adult supervision. Since Bailey chose Spider-Man as his mentor, Daredevil knows his part in Bailey's journey is done. Daredevil sees that Bailey wanted to stop him for a good reason and understand what he means. Feeling like things are finished, Daredevil says he is leaving, knowing he's done what he needed to do, even though Bailey tries to explain his choice. Daredevil understands, he says goodbye and wishes Bailey well for the future, promising to keep watching and seeing how Bailey grows as a hero. Continuing their conversation, Spider-Man turns his attention back to Bailey and asks more about his superhero work. He wonders if the things they've been talking about were the start of Bailey joining him on crime-fighting missions. Bailey explained that it wasn't the beginning. He had decided not to get involved in big fights against tough enemies like Carnage or Dr. Doom. Peter understands and changes the subject, asking about Bailey's web shooters. Bailey tells a bit of history. Peter didn't want him to use those devices before because of something that had happened in the past. Bailey asks Peter to skip that story since it's embarrassing. Peter agrees and talks about Bailey's shoes instead, joking about how Bailey can stick to things even while wearing big sneakers. Bailey is surprised by Peter's question and asks his own in return, wondering if Peter wore shoes when he first started crawling on walls. He mentions Miles Morales, who wears sneakers as Spider-Man. Bailey is ready to explain the mystery to Peter. He talks about Reed Richards, a member of the Fantastic Four, who played a big part. Bailey tells how Richard gave him a special Spider-Boy costume made from something cool called unstable molecules. These are the same things that make the Fantastic Four suit special. Bailey goes on to talk about how these unstable molecules can copy the powers of the people who wears them. He shows how they work, copying the Human Torch's fire powers, Mr. Fantastic's stretchiness, Thing's toughness, and Invisible Woman's disappearing trick. In Bailey's case, these molecules let his shoes copy his wall climbing ability so he can stick to walls and stuff. Peter listens to Bailey's explanation, but he still feels unsure about having a sidekick. He is worried about the dangers a young hero might face. Bailey understands and reluctantly explains his own thoughts, telling why he wants to do this and how their special partnership works. Bailey goes back in time to a part of their history when they solved a problem a few years ago. It happened after Bailey had a big win against a bad guy. This made the news and made Bailey famous, which made a lot of people really like him. In a clear memory, Bailey talks about a time at a food truck. He tried to get some free food, but the person working there did not know he was a superhero. The worker said no, telling Bailey he should be in school instead of asking for food. Bailey felt frustrated. He told the worker that he got a call for help from Spider-Man, so he had to be there. Bailey left and kept talking to Spider-Man as he walked away. Even though Spider-Man warned him that the bad guy Killionaire was looking for him, Bailey left confident because of his special spider sense. But this confidence might lead to something unexpected, like a garbage truck that looks normal but could mean something surprising is about to happen. The garbage truck's normal look changes and something weird and unusual comes out. This thing moves really fast and catches Spider-Boy, making him unable to move and knocking him out. A scary voice comes out of the shadows and wakes Spider-Boy up. He is confused and disoriented by a bright light. Slowly, he starts to understand his surroundings, but it's all strange and puzzling. The scary voice talks again and tells Spider-Boy what is happening. He is not just in a regular space, he is caught in a special thing that's like a pinball machine. This new discovery makes Spider-Boy worry about what's going to happen next. He is facing someone smart and tricky. A giant spring like the ones in arcade games suddenly pushes Bailey forward. The scary voice talks again, enjoying the dangerous game they're starting. Bailey realizes the seriousness of his situation. He is stuck on a huge pinball table, which became clear in a chilling way. In the tense moment, the voice reveals that it is an arcade, the one behind the dangerous place called Murder World. Arcade talks about how hard it is to survive in this dangerous place he has made. He tells Bailey to enjoy the fact that he has planned something deadly in this scary amusement park. Instead of being scared, Bailey's face changed to look excited. The really bad situation seems to make him feel more alive, and he smiles with enthusiasm. Spider-Man shows up out of nowhere. He breaks the glass that trapped Bailey, flying in to help. It's an amazing sight. Spider-Man breaks the dangerous murder world and saves Bailey from being stuck. Bailey can't hide his surprise when Peter shows up just in time. Peter quickly explains to Bailey where they are. It is Murder World, a dangerous place that's way worse than their usual fights. Bailey acts like it's no big deal, telling Peter to relax and not to take things too seriously. But Peter is not having it. He gets serious and warns Bailey that this situation is really serious, and they are heading into a dangerous slide full of traps. While they slide down, it's clear that their feelings are very different. Peter's really worried and scared, but Bailey seems to be enjoying the dangerous trial they are in. As they go through all the dangers, Bailey does not let the danger stop him from asking questions. He wants to know how Peter found him. When Peter says he put a spider tracer on Bailey, Bailey is really surprised. Their slide ends in a room full of mirrors that twist their reflections in a strange way. In this strange place, Bailey talks about not liking how Peter treats him like a kid or a pet. He wants to be independent. Peter explained that he sees himself as someone who takes care of Bailey and making sure he does not miss school or try to get free food. But while Peter talks, a weird reflection of him shows up and messes things up. Then something really unexpected happens. The weird reflection becomes real and attack Peter and Bailey. Peter says they are instant androids, a trick Arcade made, using their own image against them. Peter suggests they switch roles to deal with the problem, bringing up things they need to talk about. Bailey agrees and they work together to fight the instant androids. While they are fighting, Bailey acts like it's all just a game and he is the winner. Peter gets frustrated and questions Bailey's attitude. In response, Bailey explained why he is acting so lighthearted. He shares that he is making the best of this unusual situation because his family doesn't have much money and experiences like this are rare for him. As Bailey's family situation became clear to Peter, he is about to say sorry when the lights suddenly go out in the room. Peter is surprised by the sudden darkness and asks who did it. The voice of Arcade comes from the dark, sounding really mad. Arcade explained that he is doing this because Killionaire did not pay him. Even though it's Spider-Man and others, Arcade won't work without getting paid. He says he is done controlling the dangerous spark. Bailey tries to ask for 5 more minutes to finish their challenge, but Arcade won't give in. He says no and makes a hole in the floor that drops Peter and Bailey down a pipe. While they fall through the pipe, Bailey is still excited and Peter feels like they've escaped Arcade. They land in the East River with a splash. Later, Peter says Bailey did well in Murder World, but he adds that Bailey has to get good grades in school too. And Bailey agrees. Even though they seemed to agree before, something new comes up. Peter's okay with Bailey having Arcade as an enemy, but he is not okay with having a kid partner. Bailey feels hurt by this and stays upset. After Bailey tells his story, Peter agrees that what Bailey said is true. But then he tells Bailey something serious, that Bailey was erased from life and destiny because of a magic dagger that hurt him during a big event. This makes Peter feel like he needs to be really careful about getting a young hero involved in dangerous things. When Peter remembers a time when Bailey was in danger, he does not want to let that happen again. But Bailey is not ready to stop talking. He points out that other people like Jessica Drew and Kate went through the same things but kept being heroes. Bailey even brings up that Peter got hurt too. This makes Peter think, will he stop those people from being heroes too? Bailey's words make Peter think about what he believes. He takes a moment and Bailey uses that to do something. He gets rid of Peter's webbing, giving himself a way to escape. Peter's mind is on the idea of having a partner and being careful, but Bailey leaves while Peter thinks about what they talk about and how he sees things now. Peter does not know what's coming. Bailey seizes the chance and surprises Peter with an attack. This catches Peter off guard and leaves him surprised for a moment. Bailey adds some jokes and sarcasm, saying Peter's not ready to be a mentor. Bailey even suggests that Peter should stick to dealing with not so important villains and small-time crooks. Peter can't believe it when Bailey easily beats him. Even though Bailey acts like it's all just a game. Peter asks how Bailey did it. Confused by Bailey's sudden skill, Bailey's answer is smart. He did not set off Peter's spider sense, which usually warns Peter about danger. Peter says his webbing is strong and should keep Bailey stuck. But Bailey shows a red ball thing. Peter recognizes it and thinks Bailey made it to dissolve the webbing. But Bailey corrects Peter, saying Peter actually made the device. This surprises Peter and helps Bailey's argument. It shows Bailey is clever and thinks of new ideas. Looking at the device in his hands, Peter agrees with Bailey, saying that the web fluid dissolver is something he made. Confused by this news, Peter asks why Bailey would make such tools. Bailey's answer is simple but meaningful. He made those tools because Peter asked him to. Bailey then keeps talking, saying that their partnership and friendship did not happen overnight, but it is the foundation that lets him face big problems with confidence. At first, Peter did not really believe Bailey, but he started thinking about it. Bailey then tells Peter about an important adventure they had together. This makes Peter give Bailey one last chance to convince him. As they talk, it's like a test of how much Peter can trust Bailey and how sure Bailey is about what he is saying. Peter's decision depends on this final talk. Bailey goes back in time to talk about a really important time they worked together. He tells about a mission they did against a bad guy named Jackson Wheel, also known as the Big Wheel. He had a big armored machine called the Big Wheel 2.0. The Big Wheel was not just trying to beat them, he was causing a lot of trouble in the city without caring about the damage he was doing. At first, Peter thought Bailey can handle the Big Wheel by himself, but Bailey makes Peter wonder if he really has a plan to stop this bad guy. Bailey keeps telling the story, explaining what happened during this big challenge. Peter's belt full of old gadgets become really helpful. He uses those gadgets to fight against the Big Wheel and protect everyone. Peter quickly grabs a small gadget from his belt and gives it to Bailey. Bailey wonders what it's for. Peter explained that it's a magnetic thing that can mess up technology, meant to stop vultures' wings. Peter has a plan where Bailey uses the gadget on the Big Wheel while Peter distracts him. Bailey likes Peter's plan, but he is worried about time. He points to a building called the Fish Center nearby. During the day, lots of people are there. Even though Peter tries to talk the Big Wheel out of it, he still wants to cause destruction. He is angry at a rich person who bought the Fish Center. The situation keeps getting worse and time is running out, and the Big Wheel is coming closer and closer to causing damage. Peter tries to explain all the steps to Bailey so he can use the gadget right. Bailey tries to follow Peter's instruction, but they are so hard to understand. But because of a misunderstanding, Spider-Boy accidentally activates Spider-Man's gadget, getting off a chain of events they did not expect. The Big Wheel 2.0 reacts by speeding a lot, going faster than ever. Spider-Man keeps trying to talk sense into the Big Wheel. He asks him to stop and think about the harm he is causing and how many lives are at risk. But the Big Wheel does not listen. In the middle of all this chaos, Spider-Man's senses tells him that there's panic inside the Fish Center. His Aunt May is there, helping people get to safety. He is really worried about her and tries to warn her about what is coming. Spider-Man has to act quickly and to stop a huge disaster from happening. In a quick and decisive moment, Spider-Boy springs into action, racing against time to keep Aunt May safe from the Big Wheel's path of destruction. Using amazing speed and agility, he navigates through the chaos like a pinball. Spider-Boy's brave attempt does make a difference, but the Big Wheel's rampage still takes it all. The Fish Center gets damaged by the villain's attack, its structure weakened by the impact. Spider-Man comes out of the aftermath with his sense of humor intact. He mocks the villain as he leaves, joking that the billionaire owner of the Fish Center will probably fix it up, making the Big Wheel's efforts pointless. Amidst all the chaos and destruction, there is a touching moment between Aunt May and Spider-Boy. Grateful for his help, Aunt May thanks him by giving him a kiss on the head. She says goodbye for both Spider-Boy and Spider-Man. After the chaos subsides, Spider-Man expresses his gratitude to Spider-Boy, despite the unexpected outcome of the activated gadget. Peter's thankfulness for Bailey's quick response remains strong, even as Bailey feels guilty for not executing the plan perfectly. In response, Peter assures Bailey that success is not always about perfection. He emphasizes the importance of saving lives, even if it's just one life, highlighting that every individual's life is important and worth protecting. Bailey, however, emphasizes his personal connection to his swift action to Aunt May's safety. Peter counters this by stating that the principle applies to everyone. He believes that every life matters, whether it's Aunt May's life or anyone else's. Bailey's reflection on their conversation prompts Peter to see a similarity to his own experiences. The idea of living a normal life without the weight of being a superhero comes up. Peter recalls the moment his spider life was briefly erased, allowing him to imagine a life with Uncle Ben again. As Peter tries to offer reassurance and promises to find a solution for Bailey's unique situation, their conversation is interrupted by a sudden realization. Bailey's enhanced senses detected a looming threat targeting someone represented by a piece of clothing on a nearby clothesline. The owner of the clothing is revealed to be Gutterball, a powerful enemy with dark intentions. A sense of urgency fills the air as Bailey, led by his sense of duty, gets ready to confront the imminent danger posed by Gutterball. He firmly commits to taking action, embodying the hero spirit to shield the innocent. Bailey, aware of his duty, invites Peter to join him in facing this challenge. He believes that despite Spider-Man's potential to handle things alone, having a dedicated ally like him, Spider-Boy can make a significant difference, especially when lives are at stake. Peter's acceptance marks the strength of their partnership, bridging the gap between mentor and student. bringing them to an equal footing. Their journey's pinnacle comes when they launch into the night together, headed to confront Gutterball. Peter is surprised at Bailey's personal rogues gallery, showcases Bailey's dedication. They symbolize camaraderie and the promise of future adventures, united to face challenges side by side. The conclusion of this episode is definitely promising. I'm hoping Spider-Man leads toward a partnership with Spider-Boy on future adventures and mentor him to be an amazing Spider-Man. That's it for this episode. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on episode 12. This is Carl and see you in the next one.